Okay, Mr. Kelly, here we go. This is your 6306, April 1979. Case is decent. Typical 79. It's got the small cutout and but a big knurled crown, which is interesting. You've got this, and you provided a second insert. You said whichever one was better. So I'll look at those and see. Today's the day. The heck is that? Is that some kind of marker? Obviously, your lower mainspring arbor port is roasted. You can see the wear around there, so that's going to need to be done. And obviously, it's moving a lot. Very typical. Okay. Let's see what we can see. Time to dive. So, first bit of fun here. You can see some of the moisture got in and sat. This is pulled the winding bridge. So you pulled some of that. You can see where some of the moisture sat and some of the lubrication sort of bled out. There are your die fix settings. And here you can see the real first impact of the lower mainspring arbor port being worn as it's tipping over enough that the ratchet wheel is grinding into the train, the bridge there. Onward and upward. So anyway, this is one of the first major differences with 6306. You've got these die fix settings here, and also you can just see the hacking lever sitting in there. One nice thing about this, it's not terribly dirty. I mean, normally I see these and they're really, really filthy, and this is, well, it's a moderate amount of dirtiness. Okay, let's move on. Okay, here's your dial and handset. A little bit of patina right there, not a ton. I mean, I've certainly seen worse, but that is going to be there to stay. You've got some. Sorry, I was going to say you've got some hazing on top of your hands. You can especially see it on the hour hand there. See those puffy little lumpy things, and you see them on the markers as well. That's when water gets in. It starts pulling the salt out of the loom, and that is where that comes from. So I will clean up those hand surfaces as best I can, and they should be much improved when I'm done. But that's what that is. When you see that kind of grainy, puffy look to the loom, that was water. Okay. Here is your case. I'm pulling this apart so I can get kind of going on that. I just pulled your rotating ring. Something that's real typical for this era of Seiko is that that right there, that is your click ball for the rotating ring for the bezel, and there's your spring. These were put in here originally, and this outside of the hole in the case was crimped down to hold them in place. It often fails. I'm going to be able to put this back, and it'll function just fine, but you just need to be aware that this is what your case is doing, and your click ball, which is not lost, and your spring, which is right there, are not going to be contained by the case. Just something you need to be aware of. So here we have all the gears and everything are all gone. This is the back of the plate where train bridge would normally go, and winding pinion. This is the port, lower mainspring arbor port right here. This is the one that's like super worn out. You can see it's not a round circle anymore, it's an oval. It's all blown out on one side. But you also can see this is the thing that makes 6306 special. That is the 6306 hacking lever. It was only made in this configuration for the 6306s, period. The other, like the 6105 and 6106 hacking levers, don't work. They have a big old flange over here, and the inside hole is bigger. And so that some people will try to make them work for these, but they just slop around. They don't work at all. All of these plates, 6306, 6309, 6319, 6349, they're all equipped to take this lever. Like if you had a lever, you could drop it in, as long as you also have this center wheel cock here also is milled out to hold the lower part of the lever. Standard 6306 is not milled out like this. A 6106, 6105, 6117 bridge will actually work, but you've got to have that, and this is the real key thing now. Very rare. Hard to find. I mean, one could make, I would think, a pretty decent living by just, you know, reverse engineering these and just recreating them and selling these and this as a kit. That would make things pretty cool. Okay, onward and upward. And we're out of the cleaner. Generally, it looks pretty good. We have a little bit of plating loss around this screw for the pallet cock and around here for this bridge screw, but that's nothing major. Nothing got bit in underneath here. All these jewels are fine. This jewel was kicked out of place a little bit. I had to move that down. Here's the new jewel for the mainspring arbor port. Started reassembling on the other side, and I don't know, that's it. Time to move forward. Okay. So, getting closer. Everything's all nice and clean. It's always fun to do those diafix settings. These little spring diddlies here are just, oh, they're so fun to do. Because they are just, they're pretty funky design. They're designed to really provide some shock protection, which means they are pretty flexible, and they're only pinned really on sort of three sides, but kind of not on one, to really protect the train and the pivots. But it's just, there's a real specific way to put them in, and that's always a challenge. You can see there's the wear there on the plate. That's something cosmetic. That doesn't mean anything. Okay, forward. Here's the back of your dial. It's always interesting to see what the dial dates are. This one is 9/2, so February 1979, which is interesting because your cage back is April. Normally, I see the dials are a month before. That's real typical. A month before, or maybe sometimes the same month. 2 months before, that's not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't see it that often. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a curiosity. Anyway, that's the back of your dial. You can see some of the effects of water on there that I'm trying to clean off right now. So our running in numbers are coming in pretty well. I'm not complaining. It's still sort of an adjustment, but this is really just beginning to run in. But that's a good place to start. Dial cleaned up, and I'm working on the hands. Okay, there we go. Always fun to see what cleaning will do for one of these. It's running along beautifully. There isn't a lot to report in terms of bad parts. I mean, there's the old parts and then the seals. There's the old crown seal, which was probably where our moisture got in because it was pretty hard and not elastic anymore, and your old crystals in there. But the watch came out very nicely. The handset cleaned up well. It's still got some pitting right around the loom window here, but you know, overall it's pretty good. And that's the original loom. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that my process? Cleans the metal and doesn't touch the loom, which is great. And a lot of the hazing I was able to remove. All the hazing in the case of the sweep hand. So that looks really nice. Cleaned up your dial. You still got this mark here, but I can't do anything about it. You had given me two inserts. One was pretty worn but had a good pip, and the other one was pretty decent and original to the watch, and it had no pip. So I actually transferred this pip to here. So that's the original pip from this one, but the rest of the watch is original to itself. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully you will be as well. And that's really about it. It's fun after my last project, which was days worth of pulling hair. This was not as many days, but it was relatively straightforward, which is good. It was nice to get something that was pretty clean. Pretty clean. Well, it's ready to come back. Okay, thank you so much.